Want an even more in-depth look at the toy in this review? An entire gallery of images can be found at Toy News International. Just click the link in this video's description.
Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the new Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles remote-controlled Shellraiser. That's right, it's the second version of the Shellraiser from Playmates Toys. The first one, of course, was just a standard vehicle meant for your action figures, kind of playing with them, storing them, all that fun stuff. This new version is a remote-controlled one with some really cool shooting projectiles. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, see how it measures up with the other one, and how much fun we can have with it. The new radio-controlled Shellraiser comes in a window box packaging that fully showcases the vehicle and its controller on the inside. The box itself features the same kind of bright purple and green color scheme we've seen with all of the other Playmates TMNT figures so far. And then the back of that box just shows off some of the features of the vehicle, as well as a listing of all the different product available in the TMNT toy line. Alright, so once you get the vehicle completely removed from the box, there's nothing to assemble, there's no stickers or anything like that to put on. This thing is ready to go right out of the box. So we'll go ahead and start by taking a look at the Shellraiser vehicle itself. Now, one thing that is really neat about this particular version of the Shellraiser is it's a lot more cartoon accurate than the standard action figure version that we've already received. So if you're somebody who's kind of a stickler for things looking like they do in the cartoon, that's a big plus on this particular remote controlled version. It's got the larger wheels in the back, the smaller wheels in the front. You can see it's got a really nice kind of graffiti paint design on there, going all the way across the sides, all the way in the fronts. It's got a really nice color scheme. The body is mostly just kind of this tannish brown color. You got the top that's got the kind of pale green color. Overall, very cool looking vehicle, and like I said, looks a lot more like the cartoon than what we already saw with the previously released version. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way right at the beginning. It's comparison time. Let's go ahead and we'll bring out the standard action figure version of the Shellraiser so that you can see the two side by side. Now, not only are the appearances quite a bit different on these two, but you can see that the size is immensely different. The new remote-controlled version is a much smaller version of the Shellraiser than the big, chunkier one that is meant to play with the action figures. Of course, the bigger one is more meant to kind of put figures on the inside of, roll it around, play with them and stuff like that. Where this one, of course, the big gimmick is the fact that you can drive it with remote control and shoot some projectiles out of it. So quite a big difference between the two, but it is worth noting that you can still use your action figures with the smaller one. It is just going to be much smaller in scale, so you can kind of see the way it looks like standing next to a Ninja Turtles figure. Again, much smaller than what we've seen before, probably a little out of scale, of course, because it is a pretty big vehicle in the show, but you can still use your turtles with it. There is an opening hatch on the back here. You can flip that open. You can see there's a little bit of room in there. You're not going to fit a whole bunch. Mostly it's kind of meant to stand the turtles upright, and you can stand several of them in here. I mean, you can probably stand about 3 of them long ways, standing upright in the vehicle there, but they do pop out about halfway there, of course. I guess you could always use this as storage too. You can fit about 2 figures laying down on the inside, and you can still get the lid shut. So if you want to store some of your turtles in there, you could do that as well. Now, there is some actual little detail in here, which is pretty neat. On the inside, there is a sticker, which looks like the inside of the Shellraiser from the cartoon series. It's got the little map up on the wall, little computer screens, fun stuff like that. So that is pretty cool to see. Now, closing that lid, also up there on the top, there are 4 foot peg holes. I don't really know why we would want our turtles kind of surfing on the top of a car, but they can do it. And the foot peg holes really hold onto the feet very tightly on the Ninja Turtles there, and it's even cool because even when you're using the remote controlled car, they do stay attached to the top, so you can kind of have them, standing on the top of the car there if you want to. Very, very nicely done otherwise. Another thing worth mentioning, since it's a remote controlled car, it does have the nice rubber wheels, and it's got some really great traction on there. And it's really good because that helps it to roll across both hard floors and even carpeted floor surfaces. It does a really good job. And I'll show you that here more in just a bit. The front of the vehicle also has a little bumper thing that kind of folds down. This actually comes in handy, especially when you're rolling it around, because it does kind of work as a little bumper when it's running into things in your house or your living room or whatever. But you can just kind of fold that and fold that down if you want to. And then on the top, the last little feature is we do have this little opening hatch. This is where we're going to put in our firing projectiles. Now this is what's really cool about this. Comes with 12 little New York City sewer lids. Very cool, very nicely detailed. They're just gray round discs, but they got a nice sewer lid deco on there. It says NYC sewer on it. These all just fit right in here. All 12 of them can fit in the top. And what's really great about this is it's very reminiscent of old school Ninja Turtles vehicles. The pizza thrower, the 2003 toy line had a sewer lid launcher just like this. So this is almost like the new version of the old pizza thrower or the sewer lid launcher. So now you want to see this thing rolling around in action, I assume. This right here is your remote control. This is what you're going to use to drive around your Ninja Turtle Shellraiser here. It does require a total of 6 AA batteries to make it operate. The bottom has a screwdriver port to open up to put 4 batteries. The back of the remote takes an additional 2 batteries. So make sure you have 6 AA's on hand, ready to go, so you can drive this around. There's an on-off switch on the bottom of the van. There's also an on-off switch on the bottom of the remote here. The remote just has a large arrow for left and right, and then it's got a little joystick for forwards and backwards. You can use those two combined together, so that way you can get the vehicle to kind of turn, and you can go kind of catty corners and make some diagonal turns. The box touts that it's got all directions. It can drive in all directions. I am going to tell you it's a little hard to drive this thing. It doesn't have the greatest turning capacity, so it's going to kind of go off course really easy, but it just takes a little bit of getting used to. It's actually a lot of fun to drive around. Just to kind of play around with it a little bit on the table there, you can see what it looks like, but it really picks up some good speed. The remote has a really good kind of range on it. I've noticed that I haven't had any problems just driving it around in like the living room or just in a room of a house. It doesn't seem like it's got too much of a problem. If you're running around outside, the range might be a little harder because it does just have the little sensor on the top that has to reach the sensor on the van. So if it gets a little out of range, obviously you're going to need to kind of trail behind it to get it to work. But really, really cool action. You can drive this around. It's a lot of fun just to kind of spin it around. You can use it to ram over some of your other figures. Really, really, it's a lot of fun. Really fun, this. And I think a lot of kids are going to have a blast playing along with this. So, of course, that's going to bring us to that last shooting feature. So we can show you guys how that works. Now, what's really great about that is it is also controlled by the remote. There's a little red button right here on the top of the remote. When you press that button, it does fire out the sewer lids one at a time. So just to show you how this works, just hold that button down, and it's an amazing firing feature. I mean, the discs just soar and they fly really far. Now you'll notice, like I said, it only shoots one at a time. So holding down the button, it's not going to continuously fire. You do have to keep pressing the button in order to get it to fire. But it's amazing to see how these discs fly. So you can use that to, not only can you just ram over your figures with the van itself, you can stop, you could blast the bad guys, blast the foot with the sewer lids. It's a lot of fun. So very, very cool. The projectile feature works really great. I can imagine kids having a total blast with this. I can also imagine it's going to be pretty easy to lose those little sewer discs. So just keep an eye on those. So there you go, guys. There's a look at the brand new remote control Shellraiser from Playmates. There's a lot of good things about this. Obviously, the biggest downside is the scale. If you're looking for something that's big and beefy and fit for the action figures, this might be a little too small for that. But it's got a lot of good things going for it too. It's a lot more cartoon accurate, and it does work well as a display piece with the turtles. Like I said, a little smaller, still looks really great with them. But of course, the biggest thing about this is the fun factor. This thing is a lot of fun. I can imagine kids are going to have a total blast driving this thing around, just running over their toys, ramming into different things, you know, having fun like I did, like chasing my poor dog around the living room, or even shooting at an unsuspecting family member walking in the front door. You're going to have a blast with this. Even the parents, obviously. I'm just friggin' giddy over how fun this thing is. So you're going to really love this thing, I think. If you're into kind of the remote control cars and you love these Ninja Turtles toys, the new remote control Shellraiser is a lot of fun. So this thing is hitting store shelves right now. So happy hunting, and until next time.